So
And,
was she?
Senator Schiff,
was she
if
right?
you worked for me, you would have been fired because you were censured by Congress for lying with your
We can stipulate to, you can stipulate to all your personal attacks on the Democratic members of the committee.
Personal attacks. You've been attacking my FBI director. You've been attacking my office. You've been attacking.
But what we're interested in,
borders are.
What we're interested in is the answer to these oversight questions.
You want your
you were asked by my colleague. You were asked by my colleague.
Attacking good people.
Regular order amendment. Will you support a request so that the committee, or indeed, I believe the American people should be able to see that video or audio tape? Will you support that request?
Will you apologize to Donald Trump for trying to impeach him?
I guess the answer is you won't support that request.
After you now know that Joe Biden tried to cover up Hunter Biden's involvement with Ukraine.
Excuse me, let me do this because
the Senate chamber erupts in tension as Attorney General Pam Bondi and Congressman Adam Schiff face off in one of the most explosive hearings of the year. Adam Schiff opens the hearing with a blistering statement. His tone is heavy, his words sharp, accusing Bondi's Department of Justice of turning into what he calls the president's personal sword and shield. Schiff paints a picture of a Justice Department in crisis, claiming hundreds of prosecutors resigned and thousands more raised alarms about ethics violations. He accuses Bondi of covering up corruption, ignoring evidence of bribery, and shielding powerful friends. Pam Bondi doesn't flinch. Calm but firm, she fires back. Her tone sharpens as she defends her department and her people. The room explodes into chaos, overlapping voices, gavel strikes, and sharp exchanges. Let's dive in.
Madam Chair, Attorney General Bondi, at your confirmation hearing in January, made a clear commitment you would not politicize your position. We are here today at your first oversight hearing 9 months into your tenure, at a time when hundreds of career prosecutors have quit because they were required to take unethical actions at odds with that promise, or feared that they would have to take such actions if they remained on the job. When over 1,000 former federal prosecutors have sounded the alarm about the unprecedented degree to which the powers of DOJ are being abused to go after the president's enemies. I approach this hearing with a heavy heart. As a former federal prosecutor myself, I served in a department that, whether it was under a Democratic or Republican president, would never use the office to go after the president's enemies or to hide the corruption of his friends. But today, the Justice Department has been used to cover up the possible corruption of the mayor of New York or of a high-level administration official taking $50,000 reportedly in cash in a bag, or a child sex predator who befriended the president and some of his cabinet members. And instead of preventing partisan weaponization, your department has engaged in a brazenly political prosecution at the president's explicit direction. The department has become President Trump's personal sword and shield to go after his ever-growing list of political enemies and to protect himself, his allies, and associates. My questions therefore focus on these two themes: hiding the corrupt acts of his friends and prioritizing the political prosecution of his enemies. So let me start with the shocking allegations of bribery and pay to play. 2 weeks ago, 4 major media outlets reported that Tom Homan, the president's top deportation official working in the White House, took $50,000 in cash in a bag from undercover FBI agents in September 2024, just over a year ago. According to these reports, Homan indicated he would facilitate securing contracts in exchange for money once he was in office in a future Trump administration. Reportedly, this exchange was caught on tape. Rather than pursue this investigation without fear or favor, the department and the FBI under your leadership or that of your predecessor before you confirmed quietly shut it down. Once news broke, your deputy and FBI director issued a joint public statement confirming that the Trump administration closed the investigation. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt denied Homan took the $50,000, telling a reporter, quote, "Mr. Homan never took the $50,000 that you're referring to, so you should get your facts straight." So today I hope you can help us get our facts straight. Was that true, what the White House press secretary said when she denied Homan took the money? Did he take the money?
Senator Schiff, as I stated earlier, I was not in office. I was not confirmed when that was handled.
So does that
Deputy Attorney General Blanche and Director Patel said that there was no evidence that Tom Homan committed a crime. Yet now you're putting his picture up to slander him
No, I'm
as much as you
putting his
can.
picture up,
You know,
showing an interview he gave with, I think, Fox, in which he was asked explicitly about these allegations that he took a $50,000 bribe, and he refused to answer. He said he didn't answer the question whether he took the money, so I'm asking you the question. Did he take the money?
Senator Schiff, I answered that question multiple times. And frankly, you know.
Well, I don't think, with respect, I don't think you did. But in case I just didn't hear you, what is the answer? Did he take the money?
Senator Schiff, that happened prior to my confirmation as Attorney General. I said that.
Do you know, sitting here, whether he
All I
took the money?
know is that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and FBI Director Patel said there was no case. And Caroline Leavitt is one of the most trustworthy human beings I know.
So
and,
was she?
You know,
was
Senator Schiff,
was she
if
right?
you worked for me, you would have been fired because you
me.
were censured
No,
by Congress for lying with your
we can
egregious
stipulate to, you can stipulate to all your personal attacks on the Democratic members of the committee.
personal attacks. You've been attacking my FBI director. You've been attacking my office. You've been attacking.
But what we're interested in,
borders are.
what we're interested in is the answer to these oversight questions.
Want your,
So
no,
you were
oversight.
asked by my colleague. You were asked by my colleague.
Attacking good people.
Regular order, Madam Chair, so I can ask a question. You were asked by my colleague from Vermont whether you will support providing a video or audio tape, if it exists, of Mr. Holman taking $50,000 in bribe money from the FBI. Will you support a request by this committee to provide that tape or tapes to the committee? Yes or no?
Senator Schiff, you can talk to Director Patel about that.
Well, I'm talking to you about it. You're the Attorney General. This will be your decision. Will you support?
You don't have to tell me what is my decision and what is
then-
not
then-
my decision.
then-
I
and you-
said
and
you
you
can
don't
talk
have
to
to-
Director
you don't
Patel.
have to try to-
You think
you
you've
don't
got a
have to-
gotcha with Tom Home and our borders are.
Excuse me.
Who's been out there fighting for our country
Madam
since
Chair,
Donald Trump took office.
I'm trying to ask a question. Regular order, please. And you don't have to defer to the FBI director to pass the buck. So I'm asking you, will you support a request so that the committee, or indeed I believe the American people, should be able to see that video or audio tape? Will you support that request?
Will you apologize to Donald Trump
So
for
I
trying
guess,
to
I
impeach
guess the
him
answer is you won't support that
after
request.
you now know that
So
Joe
let me-
Biden tried
let
to
me
cover up
do
Hunter
this.
Biden's involvement with
Excuse
Ukraine?
me. Let me do this because
As the hearing drew to a close, it became clear to everyone watching, Pam Bondi had not only withstood the political firestorm, she had mastered it. From the moment Adam Schiff launched his barrage of accusations, Bondi stood calm, composed, and unshaken. She faced one of Washington's most aggressive interrogators, not with anger or fear, but with an unyielding confidence that spoke louder than any accusation thrown her way. While Schiff tried to frame the hearing as a crusade for justice, it became increasingly obvious that his approach was rooted more in political theater than genuine oversight. His constant interruptions, condescending tone, and dramatic reading of refused questions painted a picture of desperation, a man determined to score political points, even at the expense of truth. Bondi, on the other hand, refused to play his game. Her tone was steady, her words deliberate. Each time Schiff demanded a yes or no, she reminded him that justice isn't decided by sound bites or the headlines. It's built on evidence, law, and due process. She refused to be bullied into speculative answers or political traps, and that restraint, in itself, spoke volumes about her integrity. She defended her department with conviction, affirming that no investigation under her leadership had been politically motivated. When pressed on cases that predated her appointment, she rightfully redirected the questions to the appropriate officials, showing respect for legal boundaries rather than political pressure. And when Schiff accused her of attacking good people, she reminded him that standing up for the truth is not an attack, it's leadership.